Thank you very much for the introduction. Let me just correct that. It's the first female nurse, not the female. So nurse Vice Chancellor, West Africa, and second nurse Vice Chancellor for the whole of Africa. So not the female. For female Vice Chancellors in Ghana, I'm the fifth, not the first. Thank you very much. So, Madam Chairperson, my distinguished senior colleagues of the noble profession, Ms. Dr. Barnabas, my own mentor, my registrar, Mr. Felix Nyante, my colleague, my student, my friend, I don't know what to say, Director Yuval Mensah, and standing in the shoes of the President, and my own first president of the college, our distinguished chairperson, Dr. GRNMA Dennis Entry. My sweet specialists, are you there? So who are the residents? Let me see your wave. Okay. All right. So I hope that you finish your research on time and not ask for extension. Okay, because that is where the problem always is. You are always crying for extension. This year, no extension. Anyway, so I want to thank you all for the opportunity. When I was approached, I told them I'm not sure I'll be available today. And have a meeting at 1:30, so when I finish, I'll have to go to the university. I think that this will be a very short keynote because a lot have been said. I'm glad that the team is in sync with the team for the International Nurses Day, which is Nurses, a Voice to Lead, investing in nursing and respect human rights to secure global health. So our team for the conference is in sync with the global one. So I will dwell on the three thematic areas of the team that speak to investing or investment in nursing and midwifery or nurses and midwives in general. I would look briefly at quality issues, and then I'll end with accessibility issues. These are the key thrusts of the team, and I think that I would speak to them. So when we talk about investments, in every aspect of healthcare delivery is very, very important. I wish to speak to you rather than read verbatim what I have. I am thinking that it's better to speak to you than to read. So when we are talking about investments, I like what the leader of this residence said, that we tackle the roots. So the first area of investment is in the training of specialists. And I've said before that when the foundation is weak, the structure can collapse. So we need to focus on investment in terms of training. So investment in terms of scholarship, as was mentioned by the president of the group. Investment as in resources for training. So infrastructure, our skills lab, and everything else that we need to make sure that our specialists come up on top, especially paying those who help in training our specialists. So where do we get the money from if we are talking about investments? It means that our nurses and midwives, specialists themselves, those who are working, because you want somebody to invest in you. How do I invest in you if I don't know what you are doing? So we need to develop our skills in marketing ourselves and what we do. We need to develop our skills in writing proposals for funding. So the education area must get the skills, and you on the field. Remember, somebody said that in one of the, is it Carnation, the unit is small. So what have you been doing? What have you achieved? Who can help you make it better? It is the responsibility of you, the specialists, to ensure that you go out there and seek for funding. And now the world is moving forward. So as we talk about funding, I heard the word technology in one of the speakers. You don't only invest in obsolete ways of treating people or care. You need to invest in modern technology. And by this, it is important to approach it using the multidisciplinary approach where you team up with other professionals so that at the end, your proposal or your funding request can be approved by whichever agency or body you send it to. I also think that it's important for us to invest in human resource development as a whole. So you cannot train a specialist without administrative staff. You can't train a specialist without a driver to take the residents to the field. So at the end of the day, human resource, not only faculty, not only preceptors, not only the residents or the specialists on the field, but the other people that help us to do our work. Sometimes we tend to forget them. Now, the president, our premier president, mentioned that the college started with only 9 programs. The college is expanding, and I know that we are also decentralizing. So it means that the investment must take into consideration the decentralized sites. Because if the quality in Accra or Kumasi is good, and that of maybe Tamale or any other place is poor, you don't know where you will be tomorrow. And so you don't know which specialists will take care of you. And therefore, the investments must cover all the areas of training and service. The other thing I think is important in terms of investment is the fact that the specialists also need higher education. The fact that you are a member today or a fellow tomorrow doesn't mean that you should stay there forever. And therefore, we need the specialist input in training the other cadre of health professionals. So elsewhere, you have specialists having dual appointment in academia and in practice. And therefore, if you want to do this, it means that this specialist sitting here that I see must plan to do something again. You don't stop the wheel after you have become a fellow or a member. It's not enough. Because you are young, you know many years ahead of you. So I think that you should plan. Sometimes I heard one of you say the government should take up everything. You know, with the COVID-19 and Ukraine. We all know that the national purse is becoming smaller and smaller, okay? So we also need, I believe that we need to make personal plans, okay? We are lucky to get support. We added to it. If I use the word lucky, I'm not saying that perhaps we are 3 and 2 got, you didn't get. That didn't kill your dream. So you should make arrangements for personal development as you move forward. I also think that we can talk about investment for our college specifically. You know, the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, they have their edifice at Ridge area. We don't have. So I am using this platform to appeal for our stakeholders. Dr. Barnabas Seboa, you go back to the minister, you tell him that we are begging him to help us get our own edifice so that we can be proud to introduce our college. In that instance, once we have the headquarters, remember, because we form the highest numbers, we cannot say we won't train, because we have to train more, because the nurse is the first point of call, and the nurse is the last point of call. At the end of the day, the main hospitals in the cities are taking the specialists. What about the district level and the other areas? So all that I'm trying to say is that as we improve and we invest in our nurses, our specialists, and our training, and other supporting staff, if we do it well and expand training, then any Ghanaian would have somebody who is qualified to care for him or her. All right, so now I turn my attention to issues about quality improvement. Now, at the end of the day, if you are trained for 3 years, the associate members, you are trained for a year, and the fellows, you come for another 2 years, and I come to you and the service is poor, substandard, your attitude is like the other people. When I say the other people, you see, the general nurse, the others who were trained diploma or degree level entry. If you make a mistake, I'm not very much concerned. But if you call yourself a specialist, I expect more from you. I expect the most, should I say, quality, excellent service from you. So I am begging all of you that you have to keep your knowledge and skills updated. For some of you, since you finished school, if not because of this conference, you haven't read anything. I know what I'm talking about. Since you finished school, R1, R2, I don't know which R is finishing now. If you do this, the drive of the founding nurses and midwives will be lost. The drive is that we have a cadre of nurses and midwives who is polyvalent with multiple skills and is on top of his or her game. When the president was speaking, he said that you have about 20 publications in total with some under review. If you go into it, you see that somebody, his or her own is 2 or 3, somebody is 0. I mean, the person hasn't even made the attempt. All those are supervised for the specialist program. Apart from one person whose work I think is under review, the other person draft stage. Some of them, you call them, they don't even pick. They have not even made an attempt to even publish. This is sad. Because they've done very good work, very, very, very good work. But if you don't share it with the world, who will know what you have done? So I hate repeating, but I want to repeat again. That we want people with the skills and the knowledge, the current knowledge. So the specialists, you have to, you see, now you have a micro route. You don't have to read the whole pharmacology. So if you are a pediatric nurse, you are reading for pediatric pharmacology. If you are an oncology nurse, you are doing your chemo and your things like that. So you have no excuse not to keep your knowledge and skills on top. Because you call yourself a specialist, it is a market. You need to have a cloud. And so if your attitude is bad, who would come to you? I am pleading with all of you that no matter where you find yourself, the circumstances around you, let your work speak for itself. I heard the president say that some are being supervised by those who are not specialists. That will not stop me from doing what I know and how to do it. I'll continue to work. Let your work speak for you. So when you are working with that special skills and attitude and excellence, with time, nobody will even say that somebody else will supervise you. And I also heard that some of you are also fighting for leadership positions in the offices. It should be you see, the specialist's reason for training specialists is not to sit down behind the book, behind the table, signing things. No. It can be a combined something. You can have you don't call yourself a specialist and not have this clinical component. So if your facility will allow you to have, let's say, day 1, day 2 on the ward, or you do some hours on the ward and go and do your administrative things, I agree perfectly. But if you are fighting for an office that you have to sit there Monday to Friday, no specialist service, then you have gotten it wrong. And the quality issues also is the focus on holistic care. Remember, you are a nurse. Nurses, our core mandate is to care. Then the care is physical, psychological, social, and spiritual, everything. Our training is not disease-oriented. You don't just assess, diagnose, done, and treat. No, that is not a nurse. So once you call yourself a specialist nurse, don't say you are a doctor. Please. Don't see yourself as a medical assistant. You are nobody's assistant. You are an independent decision maker in the team. Okay? So, you are an independent decision maker in the team. Do your work with that holistic eye. That will make you stand out as a nurse. Don't let the nursing tag leave you. And the nursing tag, always keep the nursing process and you win always. Before you approach that client, you do your assessments. Oh yes, then you do what the other general nurses cannot do. You do your physical assessment to add on to the other general assessment that the other nurses do to have a more comprehensive care, and you do your evaluation and whatever. You are okay. But some of us think that once you become a specialist nurse, you don't wear uniform again, and so you see, no. Elsewhere, it is not like that. The specialist nurse is still a nurse with a difference. We see a nurse with some tag of, excellence, some tag of skill. What the other general nurses like myself, we lack is the assessment, proper assessment using the stethoscope. Most of them don't do it. The knowledge on the pharmacology is not very, very high. And the procedures that are advanced is not very, very good. But a specialist should have all these. So it is a huge responsibility. If you call yourself a specialist, like I see you here, you must deliver. It is not about age. It's not about number of years. No. It's about the skills, the attitude, and the knowledge that you have. Okay? One thing that I need to also emphasize briefly, you see, people can look down upon you depending on the way you communicate, the way you carry yourself. Especially if you are going to the hospital in slippers. How? I mean, the way you dress, it's like you are going for a fashion show, the ladies. I mean, if you're close, you can do that. And some of you must also work on your grammar. Unfortunately, I've heard a number of, you see, it's not about, it's it's holistic. Your skill is very, very good. Oh, but you speak and people are looking, what did she say? Then they'll be ridiculing you. No. Specialists, it must be a whole package. I had to do the same thing for myself. When I was doing my PhD, a lot of things happened. I had to build the foundation again. You must work on yourself. So by the time you come out, the quality that you give translates onto yourself and then the way people perceive you. So generally, our image as nurses and midwives would increase. And then the last aspect is about accessibility to health care. Now we know the problems of unequal distribution of health professionals across the country. Even where we have the specialists, they are not enough. So the queue is from here to the gates. So our role as nurse and midwife specialists cannot be overemphasized. I'm very careful to say you should accept posting wherever you are sent. But what I'm trying to say is that ask yourself, why was I trained? I was trained to care. Where are they sending me? Is there anybody there at all? If the answer is no, I will go there, make the difference for me to shine faster. Some of you don't know how to shine. When you work in an environment where there's deprivation and you persevere to make a difference, you shine faster. Those are the people that get the awards for GRNMA annual awards. Not those who are where there's abundance of rain. So I'm not saying that you should swallow what I'm saying, who can sinker. You have to assess your own self. What is a particular situation I find myself? Your family situation, your own health. Some of you are sitting here but you are not well. And other small considerations. If you cross them, and you know that I can devote a year or 2 or 3 to make a difference somewhere, please go. We are looking for you at all the levels of healthcare, from the primary to the tertiary. I would say start from where you can make more impact, and then you can grow other people to take over. So by the time you are leaving there, you would have gotten some mentees to take over from you. In terms of healthcare, again, I note that you have to consider issues about internet, because now everything is e-health. You are sending things electronically. So remember, I told you from the beginning that look for your own funding, right? There is the district assembly, there's the MP, there's some philanthropists, some NGOs, some churches. You need internet, so the broadband, how much is it? And maybe somebody in the community can even be giving you data stipend every week or something like that. Some of the things that I'm talking about, you don't need your own pocket money. You can get funding. Once your presence and the importance of the service you are providing is felt, people are willing to support a good cause. So don't say no too quickly. I also want to say that some of you have already brought those who finished Legon, you have brought your things to sign for traveling. Or if I was at the embassy, I would give the visa to the specialists, because we need them here. Anyway, so we are all individuals, okay? We have our goals, aspirations. If you want to leave, make sure that you come back. To come and give back, okay? And don't all leave. Don't let your conscience guide. You are only 2 pediatric nurses on this unit. All of you are traveling the same day. They say, oh, what is that? I know some of you, every day are signing transcripts. Every day, 2 or 3, they are signing transcripts. Please, some of you should stay and let's take care of our own. You never know your father, your mother, your brother, your auntie. That's why I said I won't read my speech. I'm just talking to you. We can't talk about accessibility if you all leave. We can't talk about accessibility if you all refuse to go to the primary level. We cannot talk about it. Some of us might make a decision that, let me, devote 2 years, 3 years of my career as a specialist to a district level hospital. Make a difference. And that you will never regret in your life. So please, I'm begging you, I'll try as much as possible to think about our own people as we make decisions regarding accessibility. The last thing I noted in my speech for accessibility is the specialist doesn't work Monday to Friday. The specialist is not an 8 to 5 or 7 or 8 hours worker. You don't work according to the plan, like I'm on morning shift. No. The specialist is a Monday to Sunday, a 24-hour-a-day person. if you don't put this at the back of your mind, you miss the mark. That 24 hours include your study time to update your specialist knowledge. That 24 hours include going to YouTube to watch some videos within your specialist procedures. That 24 hours include the time that you write for your publication and your proposal for fundraising, advocacy, community service. You are a specialist nurse. In your church, nobody even knows you. You have not given any talk, any education. Because you have insight, you have eye. And nobody, you haven't done it even once. It is not worth it. So, a specialist, if you want to make a mark as specialist nurses and midwives, please, it is not a Monday to Friday. It is not a 7-hour or 8-hour shift. If not, you can't achieve what a specialist is supposed to achieve. Okay? So, I think that I've said enough. On this note, I wish to thank you for inviting me. I have not said too much, but I think what I've said is enough. A word to a wise is enough. Thank you very much.